What if the very trait that made you a straight A student or like a notoriously reliable employee
Mm.
is actually the exact reason you are financially stuck right now?
Yeah, that's a scary thought, isn't it?
It really is. Today, we are doing a deep dive into this, and we're dismantling a massive culturally ingrained lie. The idea that working harder, grinding longer, and forcing yourself to fit a traditional mold automatically creates more wealth.
Right, because if you were constantly swimming upstream, budgeting every penny, putting in those 60-hour winks, but still feeling like you're barely treading water,
Yeah.
you are likely falling victim to the one-size-fits-all financial advice that just dominates our culture.
Exactly. I mean, we are sold this completely generic blueprint from day one, right? Get a safe job, save 10% of your income, put it in an index fund, and wait 40 years.
It's treating human beings like, I don't know, identical machines on an assembly line. It completely ignores our cognitive wiring. It ignores natural aptitudes and how individual people actually perceive risk and value.
Which brings us to the core mission of today's deep dive into the Millionaire Master Plan by Roger James Hamilton. We are pulling out the most actionable, personalized nuggets of wealth-building knowledge from his work. We really want to figure out your specific wealth-building DNA.
Yeah, the personalization is key here.
There is this brilliant analogy in the text, usually attributed to Albert Einstein, that says if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it will live its whole life believing it is stupid.
Right, right.
So today is really about figuring out if you are a fish, a bird, or a monkey and getting you the hell out of the wrong tree.
Because the fastest path to wealth isn't through relentless brute force effort. I mean, wealth is generated through alignment.
Alignment. Okay, tell me more about that.
Well, when you align your daily actions with your natural genius, the friction just disappears. When you are misaligned, it's like you are effectively trying to sprint up the wrong mountain wearing a backpack full of rocks.
Man, I think a lot of people feel that backpack of rocks every single morning. But before we chart your path to wealth, we need to look at the engine of that ascent first.
Definitely.
Okay, let's unpack this. The book centers heavily on this concept of creating value. But on a purely practical level, doesn't creating value just translate to working longer hours?
Not at all, actually.
I mean, if I produce 20 widgets instead of 10, I've created more value, but I'm still trapped in the exact same rat race, just running twice as fast.
You've just described the trap that keeps 90% of the population financially stagnant.
Wow, 90%.
Yeah, because you are equating time and volume with value. Hamilton breaks this down with a fundamental equation. He says, wealth equals value multiplied by leverage.
Value times leverage.
Right. And value is not a fixed metric tied to your sweat equity. It's entirely subjective. Value is determined exclusively by what someone else is willing to exchange for your unique output.
So value is the quality of the solution, not the hours it took to build it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
To illustrate this, the text shares this great anecdote from Hamilton's childhood.
Mm-hmm.
He used to draw, and he would sell printed copies of his drawings for $6 a piece.
Okay.
And if you bought two, he'd give you a deal for $10. People saw $6 of value in those copies. But one afternoon, a tourist walked up to his table and offered him $200 for the unfinished original drawing he was currently working on.
Oh, wow. So just right there on the spot.
Right on the spot. In a fraction of a second, he realized that his time creating the unique original was worth exponentially more than the time he spent trying to peddle the copies.
So the $200 original is the value, the actual engine of the wealth. And making the $6 copies is the leverage.
You got it. Leverage is just the transmission. It's the mechanism for distributing what you've already created.
Yeah.
Money flows naturally toward a value differential.
Right.
And leverage is simply how you scale that flow beyond your limited physical time. If you apply massive leverage like working 80 hours a week to something with very low subjective value, you just get exhausted. You don't get wealthy.
Yeah, you just burn out. But understanding how that engine works doesn't do you any good if you don't know what kind of vehicle you're driving around.
Exactly.
The way you personally create value is going to look completely different for the way I do. Here's where it gets really interesting. It reminds me of building a party in a role-playing video game.
Oh, I like that analogy.
You have different character classes for a reason. You would never send a wizard wearing cloth robes to the front lines to take physical damage. That's a warrior's job.
Right, they'd get crushed immediately.
Exactly. So why do we routinely take highly creative, big-picture visionaries and force them into meticulous data entry roles?
Well, we do it because the traditional education system only grades the warrior's skills, to use your analogy. Hamilton's framework maps out 4 quadrants of cognitive wiring, or genius, linking them to the seasons and distinct energy signatures.
Okay, let's go through those.
First is dynamo energy, representing spring. These are the creators, idea-driven, massive picture thinkers like Steve Jobs or Elon Musk.
The visionaries.
Right. They excel at starting things, but their inherent cognitive weakness is finishing projects or managing the day-to-day minutia.
They are the spark that starts the forest fire, but you definitely don't want them managing the fire station's payroll.
Exactly. Then you have blaze energy, which is summer. The stars. These are people-driven hyper-networkers like Oprah Winfrey.
Oh, Oprah is a classic blaze.
Totally. Their value is built on relationships, communication, and human influence. Sit them in a cubicle alone with a spreadsheet and no one to talk to, and they literally wither.
Yeah, they need that energy.
They require an audience and interpersonal dynamics to generate wealth. Their weakness is working alone and complex analysis.
So if a blaze tries to build an online business where they never have to talk to a customer, they are completely muting their primary wealth-generating tool.
Spot on. Moving into autumn, we find tempo energy, the supporters. These are service-driven individuals who are absolute masters of timing and patience.
Timing is so hard to teach, too.
It really is. Warren Buffett operates heavily on tempo energy. They rarely want to be the flamboyant frontman, and their weakness is often initiating brand new projects from total scratch.
Right.
But they are deeply observant. They feel the shifts in the market long before the dynamos or the blazes even look up.
They don't build the surfboard. They just know exactly when the perfect wave is coming.
That is a perfect way to put it. Finally, we hit winter. Seal energy.
The mechanics.
System-driven analytical professionists like Bill Gates. They process complex data, find efficiencies, and create order out of chaos.
But I'm guessing they aren't the ones you want hyping up the crowd.
Definitely not. Their cognitive blind spot is big picture marketing, human resources, or navigating social ambiguity. They want to look at the machine, not the people operating it.
So if you put 4 people, one from each of these energy profiles, in a room and ask them to solve the exact same business problem, they are going to approach it in 4 completely divergent ways.
Yeah, Hamilton calls this the 5th frequency, which is a cyclical learning process. Every venture starts with asking why.
Right, the core purpose.
But after that, the dynamo looks at the problem and asks what? What is the big disruptive idea here? The blaze ignores the what and asks who? Who do we need to hire and who is our target audience?
Because they're all about the people.
Exactly. Then the tempo asks when? When is the macroeconomic timing right to launch? And the steel looks at the other 3 in frustration and asks how? How are we physically going to build the infrastructure to support this?
That's wild. So if a startup is founded by 2 dynamos, they are going to have a million incredible ideas and 0 infrastructure, and they won't even see the crash coming because their brains literally filter out the how.
Yep, they'll just keep ideating till the money runs out.
But the book doesn't just stop at these 4 broad categories. It gets incredibly granular, breaking these down into 8 specific wealth profiles. And more importantly, it identifies the psychological traps that inevitably sabotage each profile.
And the psychology is where the theory becomes truly actionable. Within the dynamo spectrum, you have the creator and the star. Under blaze, the supporter and the deal maker. Under tempo, the trader and the accumulator. And under steel, the lord and the mechanic.
That's a lot of profiles.
It is, but every single one of these 8 paths has a specific game they play and a specific way they shoot themselves on the foot.
I really want the listener to reflect on where they might be trapped here. Take the engineer's trap, which is a classic pitfall for the mechanic profile.
Oh, I see this one all the time.
Right. A mechanic will lock themselves in a basement for 2 years, building a flawlessly coded, architecturally perfect software platform. But because they completely ignored the blaze energy, they launched this perfect machine to an audience of 0.
Yeah, it's tragic.
They focused entirely on the system and forgot to ask if any actual human being wanted to buy it.
On the opposite side of the spectrum, consider the hoarder trap, which plagues the accumulator profile. Accumulators are highly risk-averse and great at saving.
Which sounds like a good thing.
It is until it isn't. Out of sheer fear, they hold on to their assets like real estate or declining stocks way too long. They confuse the act of owning things with the act of creating value.
I see.
So they wind up with a portfolio full of stagnant assets the zero liquid cash flow.
Hearing all these blind spots, the natural straight-A student instinct is to say, okay, I'm an accumulator, so I need to go take a public speaking course, force myself to become more like a star, and fix my weaknesses.
Which is the exact opposite of what Hamilton advises. Attempting to fix your weaknesses is the ultimate trap.
Really? Just completely ignore them.
Yeah, because wealth is not created in a vacuum by a well-rounded individual. It is created through the collective psychology of team wealth. You don't fix your blind spots, you partner with someone whose natural genius perfectly covers them.
But that creates interpersonal friction, doesn't it? I mean, if I'm a visionary creator pitching a wild new concept and my partner is a highly analytical mechanic, they are instantly going to poke 100 structural holes in my idea.
Of course they are.
To me, it feels like they are killing the dream. To them, it feels like they are preventing the company from burning to the ground.
But that tension is actually the mechanism of success, provided both parties understand it. If you don't understand these profiles, the creator fires the mechanic for being negative, hires another creator who agrees with all their wild ideas, and they bankrupt the company together in 6 months.
Right, an echo chamber of big ideas.
Exactly. Recognizing your profile means recognizing who you desperately need in the room to disagree with you.
Okay, so discovering your genius and assembling your team tells you what kind of vehicle you are driving and who your crew is. But you still need a map.
You do.
Knowing you are a star profile doesn't tell you what financial maneuver to execute tomorrow morning. This brings us to the structural framework of the book, the Wealth Lighthouse.
The Wealth Lighthouse transitions us from personal identity to structural financial strategy. It maps out the specific stages of wealth creation.
I look at this lighthouse model like a building with an elevator where you literally can't skip floors. You know, you can't be on level 2 and try to hit the button for level 8. It just doesn't work that way.
That's a great way to visualize it. The lighthouse operates on 9 distinct levels, categorized into 3 prisms. The bottom is Prism 1, the foundation, or the survival prism.
Survival mode.
Yeah, it starts at the infrared level, the victim mindset, characterized by deepening debt and a feeling of total financial entrapment. Above that is the red level, the survivor, where you are generating just enough cash to stay at 0.
Just barely treading water.
Right. And then you hit the orange level, the worker.
The orange level is the danger zone.
Yeah.
It's the classic rat race. You have a good job, you are working incredibly hard, but your income is rigidly capped by the number of hours you can physically stay awake.
And why do people get stuck there?
Yeah.
Because to get out of the orange level, you have to let go. You have to let go of the security of a guaranteed paycheck to move into Prism 2, the enterprise prism.
Letting go of what worked, that's terrifying.
It is. You enter this prism at the yellow level, the player. Here you have forged your own path, maybe a freelance career or a small business. But the trap is that your income still relies entirely on your personal daily effort. If you take a week off, the business stops.
Which means advancing to the green level requires stepping back. You can't just keep doing everything yourself.
Precisely. The green level is the performer. You start creating value through a team. You are leading the work, orchestrating others, rather than doing every single task yourself. Beyond that is the blue level, the conductor, where you aren't even managing the daily operations of the team anymore. You are managing multiple investments, varied income streams, and larger market systems.
And the final 3 levels, Prism 3, completely reframe the concept of money, right?
They do. Prism 3 is the alchemy prism. Here, the focus shifts from making money to making meaning. At the indigo level, the trustee, your reputation and trust become monetizable assets.
Your name is the value.
Exactly. Then the violet level, the composer, is where individuals wield enough influence to actually rewrite economic or industry rules. Finally, the ultraviolet level, the legend, is purely about legacy, philanthropy, and shaping global ideals.
The genius of the lighthouse model is how it exposes the absurdity of generic financial advice. You know, you have folks stuck at the red level, literally drowning in credit card debt, trying to execute an indigo level strategy, like starting a massive philanthropic foundation.
It's madness. They're skipping floors and the elevator just stalls.
So, what does this all mean? Let's ground this theory in reality. If advancing requires you to let go of the specific habits that got you to your current level, how do the specific profiles navigate this? Let's say I'm a creator profile stuck at the orange level.
Okay, orange level creator.
I have a day job, I'm working hard, but I have a brilliant idea for a tech company. My instinct is to quit my job, take out a huge loan, and spend a year building a massive company by myself.
The Lighthouse framework says that instinct will ruin you.
Really? Just completely ruined me.
Yes, because a creator at the orange level lacks the leverage and the team to build a massive infrastructure. Their immediate next step, their specific move to reach the yellow level, is to build a minimum viable product, an MVP.
Ah, keep it simple.
Very simple. Stop trying to build an empire and just get a simple, single, messy offering out into the market to test demand. They just need to get in the game and secure their first independent cash flow.
What about the other side of the spectrum, like an accumulator stuck down at the red level? They are incredibly detail-oriented, highly frugal, but they are stuck in debt.
An accumulator shouldn't try to invent the next big disruptive app. That is a creator's game, and it involves way too much risk for them.
Right.
To move from red to orange, the accumulator needs to monetize their natural meticulousness as a service. They could offer freelance bookkeeping, property management, or data organization. It's low-risk, highly reliable work that generates the surplus capital necessary to make their first actual investments.
That makes so much sense. Now let's look at a star profile who has successfully made it to the yellow level. They started a PR agency. They are amazing at networking, but they are completely burned out because they are doing the client work during the day and doing the company's taxes and operational admin at 2 in the morning.
Classic yellow level trap.
Right. To get to green, they need to hire a mechanic. But wait, if they are a yellow level player barely making ends meet, how on earth are they supposed to afford a full-time operations director?
That is the exact mental block that keeps people trapped in yellow. They assume hiring a mechanic requires hundreds of thousands of dollars in liquid cash. But moving to green requires learning to leverage equity, value exchange, or fractional hiring.
So you don't need a massive salary budget right away.
No, not at all. The star could offer a brilliant mechanic a percentage of the business in exchange for setting up automated systems. Or they hire a fractional COO for like 5 hours a week just to build the financial architecture.
That's brilliant.
The shift isn't about spending massive amounts of cash. It's about relinquishing the psychological need to control the back end so the star can spend 100% of their time out in the world bringing in revenue.
It's a profound shift in perspective. Depending on where you are in the lighthouse, the game fundamentally changes. The book outlines this through what it calls score sessions and flight paths.
Yeah, those are critical.
At the lower levels, in the survival prism, your only challenge is leverage. How do you untether your income from your physical time? In the middle enterprise levels, your core challenge is learning to let go. How do you delegate and trust a team so you can scale? And at the upper alchemy levels, your challenge becomes purpose.
Because if the massive wealth you've built doesn't serve a mission greater than yourself, you risk losing your drive entirely.
Right.
The progression demands relentless self-awareness. I mean, you cannot chart a course if you are lying to yourself about your current coordinates, or if you are pretending to be a different kind of sailor entirely.
Which brings us back to the ultimate goal of this deep dive. You have to stop climbing the wrong mountain. Based on Hamilton's blueprint, there are 3 questions you have to answer right now.
Let's hear them.
1, who are you? Are you a dynamo, a blaze, a tempo, or a steel? 2, where are you? Be brutally honest about which level of the lighthouse you were standing on today. And 3, what is your exact next step? Not a theoretical step 5 levels away, but the immediate uncomfortable step required for your specific profile.
And, as you contemplate those 3 questions, I'd really encourage you to consider Roger James Hamilton's profound definition of wealth from the text. He states that wealth is not a measure of how much money you have made. Wealth is what you have left when you lose all your money.
Wow. If you woke up tomorrow morning, checked your phone, and saw that your bank account was at absolute zero, what would you still have? What innate cognitive genius, what specific problem-solving skills, and what deeply cultivated network of people would you still possess to rebuild it all from scratch? Because those intangibles, your mind and your alignment, that is your true wealth. The money is just a byproduct. So figure out your profile, stop judging yourself for not being able to climb the tree, and dive into the water. Go find your flow.